Bonsoir à tous. Let's read New Short Tales in French by Patrick Baud. We are reading his Nanofiction. We've been doing that for a few times, so if you missed any, you're going to be able to catch up at the end of the lesson with the playlist. I have a massive cup of tea. I hope you're doing great. It's Saturday here in France. It's so sunny today in Grenoble. It's very lovely. We took out our summer clothes and put our winter clothes back in the closet, and just puts a big smile on my face to just being wearing summer clothes. It's like the holidays. We're going to start, I think, our 7th week of confinement next week. I don't know how it's for you, but it's starting to get a bit heavy, and I really had to think hard about what I've been doing with my time. But I realized that even though it's lots of work to be doing that every day, it just rhythm my day. And it's very nice to be able to do some help on a daily basis for you. And I enjoyed very, very, very much. So I have to be honest, I was almost going to quit. But I enjoy it. So let's keep doing this until France is out, and then we'll figure out what we can do. So I hope you're fine. Take a pen and paper. Maybe you have your notes on your computer. Maybe some tea, some coffee if it's breakfast in the US for you, or if you are in Europe, maybe that's the evening. Or maybe in Asia, you're just going to bed very, very soon. So today we're going to talk about a very lucky man and Paris in a flood. Let's read the first one together. Breathe in, breathe out. And let's read it. 1, 2, 3. De lui, les gens disaient, moqueur, que c'était le plus optimiste du secteur. Un jour, on annonça dans les médias, sans embâge, qu'une comète fonçait droit sur son village. Les habitants s'enfuirent, paniqués, mais pas lui. Il posa un trampoline au sol et attendit. Let's go back to the first sentence and read this together. Students told me that the breathing exercise before reading was very good because it just helps you to concentrate. So it's good that we're doing this together. De lui, les gens disaient, moqueur, que c'était le plus optimiste du secteur. We have several complicated words in this tale. De lui, les gens disaient. So here, the sentence could be on the other side. It's not the right order. We could say, les gens disaient de lui. But here it is de lui, les gens disaient. Here it is perfectly fine because it is written French. So we sometimes use more elaborate kinds of grammar. And this is exactly what Patrick Baud did. He put the de lui at the beginning. I assume you would do this in English as well. You would say of him, people said, etc. So again, it's not something that you would say in everyday French because it's very elaborate. But it is very, very common in books to actually change the order of the words because we want to give a beautiful angle to what we say. So les gens disaient de lui. People were saying of him, about him. So about him, people were saying. Here, remember, we've been reading fairy tales for a while. So remember that I said that it's all about passé simple. Yes, passé simple is the time that we use for action. But when you want to give context, you're going to use imparfait. And this is what we call la concordance des temps. This is what is so tricky, even for French people. La concordance des temps. La concordance des temps, you can check this. You can check this in your French grammar book, if you have one. It is the fact that you're going to put tenses that fit together and express what you want to say. So, for example, you don't put a future in the middle of this because it doesn't mean anything unless it is a dialogue where the character is going to speak in present, but talking about the future, he's going to use future. So you need to put your tenses together so they fit. And this is la concordance des temps. So when you have context, you put l'imparfait, and when you have action, you put passé simple. De lui, les gens disaient moqueur. Moqueur is when they were mocking him, teasing him. And we say se moquer. Oh là là, sorry. Se moquer is to tease, to mock. For example, Pierre s'est moqué de moi quand mon pantalon s'est déchiré pendant le stage d'équitation. Pierre made fun of me, he teased me, mocked me when my trousers broke during the horse riding workshop. I think I would have done the same. Pierre s'est moqué de moi. And by the way, you can use that to say that you got me, you teased me, you scammed me. For example, tu t'es bien moqué de moi avec... how can I phrase that? Tu t'es bien moqué de moi avec ta... avec ta bière artisanale. Elle est dégoûtante. You really got me with your homemade beer. It's disgusting. So obviously I'm not saying that all homemade beer are locally produced. How do you say artisanal? Artisanal. Handmade. Not necessarily homemade. So you really got me with your handmade beer. It's disgusting. So you can see here that here it really means that Pierre teased me, he laughed at me, he made fun of me openly. And there it means that you got me. It was a scam, okay? So it's not necessarily that you paid for this disgusting beer, but it's that you offered something that actually wasn't true, so you got me. Do we have something good here to make fun of? Yeah, it is more to try it on with someone, to take somebody for a ride, to think you're an idiot. So you have the meaning here. Que c'était le plus optimiste du secteur, that he was the most optimistic person du secteur. Un secteur is an area. Un secteur, it is an area. Here, it can be a neighborhood, okay? But it is more an area because you don't really know if you have a neighborhood or if it's just an area where people do something like work. Here he could have written quartier. Okay, that would have been neighborhood. But he wrote secteur, so area will be good. De lui, les gens disaient moqueur que c'était le plus optimiste du secteur. So we have one liaison here. Let's read it again. 1, 2, 3. De lui, les gens disaient moqueur que c'était le plus optimiste du secteur. Let's read this one together. 1, 2, 3. Un jour, on annonça dans les médias, sans embâge, qu'une comète fonçait droit sur son village. Un jour is one day. On annonça, we announced in the media. Here the on is the generic on, as in it rained. Or here it should be, it was announced in the media. Okay, le on is not about le... Not on égale nous. Modern French. So if you follow Commune Française, you know that I recommend that instead of nous, you use on. Well, it's not just me, it's everybody. To actually speak better French, more modern and accurate French. But here it is not that. It is the on of il. Okay? But it is not il, it is on as in they announced. We announced. It was announced. It is not anyone. It's something that just happened. On annonça dans les médias. Here we have une liaison. Dans les médias, in the media, sans embâge. Sans embâge, I had to check this out because I wasn't sure what it was. I kind of had an idea, obviously. It is franchement. You can use franchement. But franchement is not exactly that. It's without any caution. It is bluntly. Bluntly, I think it's better than franchement. Plainly. So you have this idea of they're not trying to sugarcoat it. They just said it. What did they say? They said that une comète fonçait droit sur le village. Une comète seems to be a comet. Fonçait droit sur son village. Foncer is to darken. Okay, when you're talking about colors. But here we're not talking about colors. We are talking about going straight on something. Foncer droit sur. It is to, I found, plow. No, like that. Plow, I found plow into and to charge at or into. So I think it's to charge at here because the comet was charging at the village. I'm not really sure, but what the idea is that you have the comet like rushing straight on the village. You see it, you can't see it because if you see it, it's too late, but it's going straight on it. So here my English is not good enough to tell you which one is it, because here I had the impression that it was going through something towards something else. But here you're not talking about the atmosphere it's going through. It is just going straight at the village. And foncer droit sur something is something that you can absolutely use in French. Sans embâge is a little bit literary, but for foncer fin it's very well. For example, en entendant le bruit de mes pas dans l'entrée, mon chien a foncé sur moi. By hearing the noise of my step in the entry, my dog went straight at me. So, and this can be for humans as well. Foncer is the idea of having one goal and going straight at it very, very fast, running. You don't fonce when you're walking. You really have to be running or hurrying. Sur son village, on his village. Sur son village. Droit sur is straight at. Droit sur, it is straight at. But you cannot use that alone, just like you would not use straight at alone. So for example, Without foncer is tricky. La voiture a roulé droit sur le tronc d'arbre. It's not the best French, but I didn't want to say that the car hurt anyone or anything. La voiture a roulé droit sur le tronc d'arbre. It means that the car rolled straight into the tree. You can even say tout droit. Tout droit sur le tronc d'arbre. You can use aller tout droit as well. Aller tout droit. Go straight. So for example, pour arriver chez moi, aller tout droit après le rond-point. To arrive at my place, go straight after the roundabout. But he didn't panic. Let's read this one again. 1, 2, 3. Un jour, on annonça dans les médias sans embâge, here we have une liaison, sans embâge, qu'une comète fonçait droit sur son village. Okay, so what did he do then? I want to know. Let's read this one together. Les habitants s'enfuirent, paniqués, mais pas lui. Il posa un trampoline au sol et attendit. Les habitants, it is the inhabitants, people living here. S'enfuir. S'enfuir, you can, I think, imagine what this is because you have a comet going straight on your village. S'enfuir, it is to flee. S'enfuir. Fuir is to flee as well. S'enfuir has a little bit of more of a meaning of you doing it yourself, but fuir is the same. You could say les habitants fuirent. Okay, that's fine. Paniquer, panicked, mais pas lui, but not him. Why? What did he do then? Il posa un trampoline au sol et attendit. Il posa un trampoline au sol et attendit. Poser, it is to put something on the floor. Here he says poser au sol. You can say poser sur le sol. It is the same. Okay, poser au sol. Poser sur le sol. Un trampoline is the same word in English, I think. Trampoline au sol, on the floor, and waited. Can you understand? Let's read this sentence again together and then I'm going to retranslate the whole tale so you understand the twist at the end. Les habitants, here we have une liaison, les habitants s'enfuirent paniqués mais pas lui. Il posa un trampoline au sol et attendit. I'm preparing a lesson on la liaison which is going to go out either Tuesday or the next Tuesday. I really want to do something awesome and so I really want to make sure it's good, so I might wait until next week. But there is no ever liaison after T, okay? So you can remember that. It doesn't have any liaison after. Even though it kind of should, but no. So let's read it once again so I can translate, and after that we're going to read the tale together again. So we can work on the pronunciation. De lui, of him, les gens disaient, people were saying, moqueur is teasing, mocking him, que c'était le plus optimiste du secteur, that he was the most optimistic person of the area. Here it is, c'était le plus optimiste. If you say that he was the most optimistic of the area, you don't have to precise that it was a man or a person, okay? Because here it is of him, people were saying que c'était le plus optimiste du secteur. It could be a dog, it could be a cat, it could be an elephant, because of the way the sentence is phrased. We don't say it is a human, but we assume that it is a human because of the context. Okay? So you really have to read between the lines in order to be able to understand what's happening. Un jour, on annonça dans les médias, one day the media announced, sans embâge, plainly, bluntly, qu'une comète fonçait droit sur son village. Qu'une comète fonçait droit sur son village, that the comet was heading right for his village. It was going straight at his village. Les habitants s'enfuirent. The inhabitants escaped, panicked but not him. Il posa un trampoline au sol et attendit. He put a trampoline on the floor and waited. So what's the twist here is that he was the most optimistic person in the area. This is what everybody knows and said. The media announced that there is the massive comet coming in, so all the inhabitants leave because they're panicked and they don't want to die, but he doesn't. He puts a trampoline on the floor and waits because he assumes that the comet is going to fall on the trampoline and go back into the atmosphere. Okay, so that's the thing, that's the twist. Let's read this one again together. I'm going to read some tea first. Okay, are you ready? Good. Ready to read? 1, 2, 3. De lui, les gens disaient, moqueurs, que c'était le plus optimiste du secteur. Un jour, on annonça dans les médias, sans embâge, qu'une comète fonçait droit sur son village. Les habitants s'enfuirent, paniqués, mais pas lui. Il posa un trampoline au sol et attendit. Ah. I mean, yeah, why not? Why not give it a try? He's not putting anyone else in danger, so I think it's worth giving it a try. Let's move on to the next one. 1, 2, 3. Lorsque Paris fut noyé sous les eaux, on vit en masse des œuvres du Louvre remonter à la surface. Cette passante s'agrippa à un tableau de grande taille et elle réalisa, confuse, qu'elle devait son salut au radeau de la Méduse. Oh. And by the way, this, I don't think it would happen now because le Louvre is really good at protecting their art. So it should be fine. Lorsque Paris fut noyé sous les eaux. When Paris was drowned under the water. I took some notes I wanted to tell you. Yes, so noyer is to drown. And usually we say se noyer. When you are drowning, like yourself, but you can say noyer someone or something. To drown. Do you say drowning someone? Okay, yes, because you can do that against someone's will. For example, I have bad ideas in my head. Let's put that. J'ai noyé mon gâteau au chocolat dans la crème anglaise. Do you know what crème anglaise is? It's custard. Yeah. For us, custard is English cream. So I drowned my chocolate cake in custard, but you can say se noyer. I say I said voluntary, but it's just like, it's your own responsibility. It's bad, but it's not someone doing this to you. But you can say you're not going to die. Je me suis noyé dans les devoirs pour la semaine prochaine. So I drowned in the homework for next week. Again, I don't really want to just say people got drowned because I'm not in the mood for bad news. Lorsque Paris fut noyé sous les eaux, when Paris was drowned under the water, here, what do you notice from that? Can you notice something that is surprising? You can notice that Paris is feminine here, okay? It is feminine. You can see that because it has an E at the end. There is an E at the end of noyer. And I did some very quick research, obviously, and I found I'm going to put her name there because I like to just mention authors. Sandrine Campez in Projet Voltaire, which is a good website about grammar and writing well. It's aimed at French people because it's very, very it's not very easy to understand if you know nothing about grammar, but it's very interesting if you do because it's very precise, and this is one of my go-to resources when I have to check a point of grammar for you. So check it out. It's worth giving it a try, and they really explore lots of expressions and tricks that French play on you. And the way I do when I'm looking for something is I write what I'm looking for, and then I add Projet Voltaire in Google, and then it finds the article for me. So it seems in this, wow, so you can see what she wrote, Sandrine Campese, and she says that now the names of cities are feminine in literature, but they're masculine in everyday life. And actually it's true, because I just thought about some examples, and here, Paris is feminine, but when you talk about Paris, you say le tout Paris. So this is an old-fashioned expression to say all the people that matter in Paris. It's the jet set of Paris. Paris jet set. And now there is this word that I don't really like, jet set. But the VIPs of Paris, that's le tout Paris. And we say le vieux Londres, the old parts of London. We say le Grand Lyon. So it is Lyon and its suburbs. And this is all masculine. But if you were talking about these cities, or any city in literature, or in a more poetic way, you would use feminine. And this is very funny. And this is why sometimes it's tricky for students to realize what gender the cities are, because actually it changes. So I didn't know before checking that. I knew that it was difficult to know, but actually she says it's very, very well. Lorsque Paris fut noyé sous les eaux, on vit, we saw. It is exactly the same on as on annonça that we saw here. Okay, on annonça. Exactly the same. It is not anyone in particular, it is everybody. On vit en masse, so we saw en masse. I found out that you have the same word in English. Des œuvres du Louvre remonter à la surface. Des œuvres du Louvre. I found that the translation that you have in English for œuvre, it is painting. But I disagree because no, it is tableau. Yes. So œuvre, it is a piece of art. Yeah, the note I took is about tableau. Du Louvre, so here it is le musée du Louvre, remonter à la surface. And in English, there is a direct translation for that. It is to resurface. And it's the same as in English, in French. So it can be something that is actually going back to the surface, or it can be a secret that came back in life, in everybody's knowledge. So it can be both. It can be literal and non-literal. Remonter à la surface. Let's read the second sentence together. 1, 2, 3. Cette passante s'agrippa à un tableau de grande taille et elle réalisa, confuse, qu'elle devait son salut au radeau de la méduse. Un passant and une passante, it is a passerby. Une passante or un passant, it is passerby. So it's the same. And l'adjectif passant, it means that it is busy or much frequented. Obviously here you don't say it to talk about someone. You do not translate it back. You don't translate busy into passant. It has to be for a street, for example. J'ai ouvert mon magasin de tricot, de laine, dans une rue passante du centre-ville. Okay, so do not take this literally. J'ai ouvert mon magasin de laine dans une rue passante du centre-ville. I opened my shop selling wool in a street, a busy, a much frequented street of the city center. Oh, I forgot, I wanted to tell you something. I've been reading a book by Cal Newport, who is someone I adore. I read all his books. Every time he has a book published, I read it. It's about, he writes a lot about learning, concentration, and efficiency. And I would say personal accomplishment, which is definitely not this way you write it. Efficiency. He's absolutely fantastic. I love his work. I don't know if someone in the chat knows his work. And I'm reading a book about how to memorize things because I really want to do an episode on that in the future on Comme une Française on a Tuesday lesson about how to memorize what you learn. And I had an idea for you that he mentioned in the book, is that for your notes, if you can get pieces of paper, instead of taking notes on a notebook or a computer, if you want to memorize what we do, you can take like, how do you call that? Like cards? You have these cards made of paper that is made to actually make flashcards. You can use flashcards right away when you follow the tale by writing on one side of the French, on the other side the English. And this way you can test yourself or ask someone in your home to test yourself. So you have your material ready right after the lesson is over to actually start memorizing it. So it's really up to you to do it or not. It was just an idea that I read in the book that was so good that I thought I have to share this with you. I cannot hide it from them until I do the lesson on memorizing vocabulary. So if you have cards that you can use for flashcards or even little pieces of paper that you can use and like write that un passant is a passerby. I don't know, when you have coffee in the morning, you can review your vocabulary. So that's my tip for today. And I will maybe tell you more of my research before I do the lesson, but that is something I really wanted to tell you today. So, we were here. Cette passante s'agrippa à un tableau de grande taille. S'agripper. It is to grasp, to hang on to something. To grasp, to hang on to something. So here it is more to hang on to something because you have the idea that you are going to save your life. And here she's in a flood. She wants to save her life. So you really have this idea of grasping something and not giving up on it. You're going to hang until you're safe. So s'agripper is really that, and you have this idea of all your body tensing in order to save yourself. S'agripper. Vous savez, s'agripper à quelque chose. S'agripper à quelque chose. To hang on to something. So she's hanging to what? She's hanging to un tableau de grande taille. Une grande taille is a big size. And un tableau is a painting. Well, the thing is, it's not necessarily a painting because it could be a drawing, but let's use this word, un tableau. You have this idea of a canvas with a beautiful art on it. Un tableau de grande taille. Et elle réalisa, and she realized, confuse. Confuse, it is embarrassed. She doesn't really understand. I found muddled, but it doesn't seem to apply to people. But you have this idea that you don't really understand or you don't realize, or it just took you some time to realize something. And this is what is happening there. She's in the flood. She saved herself by grasping a massive painting. And then she's like, what's that? And then she understands qu'elle devait son salut au radeau de la méduse. Le salut, it is, I found safety, but again, I'm not really satisfied with this translation. Maybe one of you in the chat can find something better. I think salvation is a little bit better, but salvation seems to have kind of a religious meaning. Here it is really that le salut is really she owes her life to that. Le salut is something serious. For example, après je dois mon salut à mon frère qui m'a sorti de mon addiction à Downton Abbey. I owe my salvation, my life, my health, my mental health, my bodily health to my brother who saved me, who got me out of my addiction to Downton Abbey. So again, I don't want to say awful things, so I'd rather talk about addictions to fun and entertaining series. So here really, le salut is something serious. It's not something that is just saved you lightly. It is something that you have to take seriously. So it is more than safety, it's more salvation in French. Qu'elle devait son salut au radeau de la Méduse. Le radeau de la Méduse, it is a painting. It is the raft of the Medusa. Do you know who this is from? This is a massive painting at Le Louvre that is so impressive because it's so big. And this topic is so sad. Le radeau de la Méduse, do you know? It is by de Théodore Géricault. De Théodore Géricault. So Google it if you want. If you don't know it. Even if you do, it's worth seeing again. Because at the moment it's kind of appropriate sometimes. So let's read the whole tale together and I'm going to explain it. Lorsque Paris fut noyé sous les eaux, here we have une liaison, sous les eaux, on vit en masse. Here we could say on vit en masse, okay? But because there is une virgule, we assume that we have to take a breath. So take a pause. On vit en masse, so we don't do la liaison. Des œuvres, here une liaison, exactly like les eaux, it is the same, article and noun, du Louvre, remonter à la surface. Here, une liaison. Cette passante s'agrippa à un tableau de grande taille et elle réalisa, confuse, qu'elle devait son salut au radeau de la Méduse. I would say qu'elle devait son salut au radeau de la Méduse, because I want to separate au radeau de la Méduse, which is the surprising part, to her safety. When Paris was drowned under the water, we saw en masse, art from Le Louvre resurfacing. This passerby grasped a painting of a big size, and she realized, confused, embarrassed, that she owed her safety to the raft of the Medusa. So if you know the painting, it is a massive raft of people who are, some of them are dead on it, and they escaped a boat that drowned, and so they own their safety to the raft, and this lady owes her safety to the painting of the raft. So it's a funny story. Good. We did well today. Congratulations. That's really, really good. We did 2 tales. Tomorrow we are going to talk about aliens and nights. I was looking for the word in English. And nights. So tomorrow, aliens and nights. I'm going to put the playlist of all the lessons on the right, so you can click to watch them again or catch up if you missed any. I wish you une bonne journée, une bonne soirée, maybe une bonne nuit, and I will see you tomorrow at 7:15 p.m. Paris time. Allez, salut!